Home prices and wages are two very key elements in affordability. But there's a third component to the equation. Hello, Shane Willis, Pensacola real estate expert, bringing you today's episode. Today we're going to talk about determining how you can afford to buy a home, because there's an argument been going around that I want to kind of debunk. I'm actually going to give you a couple of different economic outlooks and a couple of different statements from different institutions to kind of debunk this. And basically it says the gap between the increase in personal income and real estate prices, they've used that to defend that we're experiencing an affordability crisis instead of an inventory crisis. All right, so they're saying that there's an affordability crisis. Home prices and wages are two very key elements in affordability. All right, that is good key elements in the affordability equation, but there's a third component to the equation. So if you remember, as we went back to math class way back in school, well, for some of you, it's not way back. It was like yesterday, but or maybe even today. I don't know. But if you went back just to basic math and there was an equation that you had to figure for algebra, you had to have all the variables. All right. And one key variable that destroys that thought is the mortgage interest rates. Mortgage interest rates have actually fallen a full percentage from this time last year, which is a shock. If you listen to this as a podcast, because we did this just as a podcast for a long time, I was talking about 6% interest rates by the end of 2019, that we were going to get into the fives and then probably the sixes, because that's where everything was leading. But, you know, the Fed changed some things and the rules changed, and now all of a sudden it's down. So with the interest rates down, that's your final variable in the equation. The affordability of homes is still there. All right. So now I'm going to give you these three sources so you can go, okay, these are validating. This is not just Shane coming up with stuff because he wants to try and sell the house. No. I'm one of those strange realtors, honestly, that if you buy, great. If you don't, okay, I'm fine. It's what do you need? What can I do to help you? Is there anything in the world I can do to help you? That's all that matters to me. I know that I'll get enough clients if I do that. But if you look at core logic, and I'm just reading from my screen here, it said falling mortgage rates and slower home price growth means that many buyers this year are committing to lower mortgage payments than they would have faced if they bought a home same time last year. After rising at a double-digit annual pace in 2018, the principal and interest payment on the nation's median home prices, what we call a typical mortgage payment, fell year over year again. Now, there were some fancy words there. Let me just bring that down. That means that even though prices have gone up in 2019, the average mortgage payment has went down. And trust me, it's not because people are putting more money down. It's not. It's because your principal and interest, the interest part of that equation is less. They were paying in the fours. Now we're in the threes. Okay? It was almost 5% last year. Matter of fact, I remember a couple of times last year where it kicked up over 5%, which is not a bad interest rate. People sit there going, oh, well, it's a bad interest rate because it's 5%. No, it's not. That's a fantastic interest rate. And for those of you who are back in the heyday, right? I say the heyday, it was, pandemonium in 2005, 6. Most of the interest rates, even for A paper, was in the sixes. The subprime paper was in 9s and 10s and 12s. And how many of you remember way back to where a VA loan was 11.5%? So 5 is not bad. 3.5, which we are at right now, is ridiculous. Anyway, so that was core logic. The National Association of Realtors Affordability Index, here's their statement. At the national level, housing affordability is up from last month and up from a year ago. All 4 regions saw an increase in affordability from a year ago. Payments as a percentage of income was down from a year ago. So what is my payment on a property? It's down from a year ago. And that same number is going to say what was the property that you bought last year? It is worth more this year. So you see, this is part of the equation here. So I don't want to hear the affordability argument. First American's Real Housing Price Index. All right. 2019, the dynamic duo of lower mortgage rates and rising incomes overcame the negative impact of rising house price appreciations on affordability. Indeed, affordability reached its highest point since January 2018. Focusing on nominal house price changes alone is indicating change affordability or even the relationship between nominal house price growth and income growth overlooks what matters more to potential buyers. Surging house buying power, let me say that again. Surging house buying power driven by the dynamic duo of mortgage rates and income growth. That's what matters most. And we all know from experience, you buy what you can afford to pay per month. Okay, so I know that people are saying that the income is not growing quite as fast as the property prices are. But hopefully this episode actually just talked to you about that third variable. And with rates right now, this is why buyers need to jump in and lock this in. I get calls about refinance all the time. I get calls about purchases because these are low rates. And refinances make sense if you can drop about a point. All right, as long as you can make financial sense, okay, cool. But right now, buyers have got an opportunity because the cost of purchasing a home is lower than it was a year ago. I'm fairly certain this will not hold. All right, it will not hold. We're going to come into an election year next year, and who knows what bumpy ride that's going to take us on. So if you're waiting, stop. See if you can get locked in now because you get you a 30-year fix. Now you know your housing payment for at least the next, I don't know that you're going to live there for 30 years. Most people don't. But can you imagine with the rising of rent, how all of a sudden you know that you're level for the next 3, 4, 5 years? Could you make some better decisions financially if you knew that owning a home was going to keep you leveled? This is going to be my mortgage payment every month for the next couple of years. Again, what can I do for you? All right, that's all I got for you today. As always, if you've not subscribed to get our tips, tricks, graphs, infographics, get over to 5minutesinrealestate.com. Get over to the Facebook page, facebook.com/Shane Willis, the Realtor. We are on IGTV and we are also on YouTube as well. So I'm putting these out there. And believe it or not, I'm on Twitter, Shane Willis 10, just like I'm on Instagram at Shane Willis 10. And we have jumped in on TikTok. So we are on TikTok, Shane Willis 10. I put up some clips of these shows every week or every day. Anyways, get over there, like us, subscribe to us, let us know what you think. I keep saying us, like it's, I have a multiple personality. I don't know. Maybe that's a different episode. Have a great Wednesday.